back everyone to a new video. I'm Melissa and today I look exactly the same as the last video, but pre-filming. In this video I will be doing another recommendation video because the last video with my trilogies, I guess it went well, so I really want to do this again. It was fun recommending books to you guys. Again, I usually don't do review videos because I have a really hazy memory and I just start jumbling and mixing things up while talking, so I like doing mini reviews or mini recommendations for you guys since I feel like this channel should have more book recommendations than book hauls. So yeah. For this video, I am going to be doing some sci-fi recommendations. I guess the majority of books that are read on YouTube, or BookTube at least, is fantasy, and I think sci-fi deserves to get a bit more attention because there are some great sci-fi books out there. I myself have not read that many sci-fi books. Most of the books that I read are usually fantasy or have some sort of element of fantasy in them. More fantasy than sci-fi at least. But I have read some sci-fi and I really want to recommend some of them to you. A lot of the sci-fi here are like really major known sci-fi books, but if you haven't read them, then I'm here to recommend them to you. The first book that I really want to recommend is Vicious. It is a thriller book that is vicious, just to say it like that. We follow two best friends, Eli and Victor, and they are working on a project and they want to prove that people can get powers by near-death experiences, and both of them go through a sort of near-death experience and they gain powers. And one of them uses the powers for good and the other one uses the powers for evil. And we go a lot of back and forth in time through this book and it's just absolutely amazing. It's one of my all-time favorite books. My favorite book by V.E. Schwab, actually. It is the best book she's written so far, in my opinion, though this was actually my very first V.E. Schwab book, but I really loved it so much and it's so good. So if you really want a suspenseful evil book, then definitely pick this one up. The next book that I would really love to recommend is an adult sci-fi book that is so sci-fi, typical sci-fi. This is like up in space all the time. That is Old Man's War by John Scalzi. That's what you get for not having a viewfinder. You don't know when your camera just decides to turn itself off. Follow John Perry. He is 75 years old now, and his decision is to join the Colonial Defense Forces. And the Colonial Defense Forces is a military program that is out in space, and they promise old people, actually, people who have lived their life and have nothing else to do, that they can get young again and start fighting different galactical species. There are a lot of intergalactic wars in this book and you start questioning life a lot, like how is all this worth everything that you've lived for, and you meet a lot of different species. Our main character, John Perry, is a hilarious type of character and he's just a great main character to follow. The book was so much fun to read, and if you feel like this isn't your genre to read or you're a bit scared because it seems like a typical adult sci-fi, then don't be scared. You just have to get through the first 70 pages and then the ride starts and it's so good, so fast-paced, and I think you will enjoy it once you start reading it. The next book I would like to recommend is one of my all-time favorite books, and it's becoming a movie in 2018, being produced and directed by Steven Spielberg. So typical sci-fi. That is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. He's written this book and Armada, but this is the book. It is so much fun. It's a fun book, especially if you love pop culture. Oh my god, especially if you love 80s pop culture, then the book is gold. We follow main character Wade Watts, and he really likes roaming around in the virtual reality called Oasis, and Oasis has become this substitute for living on Earth because Earth has gotten into this sort of dystopia wasteland and people would rather live in the Oasis in a virtual reality and their lives there instead of being on Earth. Well, they are on Earth, but their mind are like jumped into the virtual reality, if you get what I mean. So the creator of the Oasis has died and he has left some sort of riddles that everyone has to try to figure out, and if you're able to find all three keys and go through the last riddle, then you can win his fortune. And it takes almost 2 years to actually figure out the first riddle, and that is Wade who figures that out, and then the story begins and it's amazing. It's so much fun. That's the only adjective I can use to this book, is that it's fun. It's a fun read. And again, if you aren't familiar with any of the pop culture references in this book, then just Google them and then you'll understand what they are, and then the book just gets so much better. Luckily, I really love pop culture. I love movies, I love anime, TVs, games, toys. So I did recognize a lot, though I did grow up in the 90s, but some of the 80s stuff was in the 90s as well, so it was a fun read. Such a great read. The next book I really like to recommend is The Martian by Andy Weir. And this was a great story. It was fun, but it was like a suspenseful story. I know a lot of you have probably already read this book or seen the movie with Matt Damon in it. The movie was also really great, though the book was a tad bit better, but that's how it always is. We follow Mark Watney, and him and his team are on Mars just to gather some samples, and a dust storm happens and Mark Watney flies away and loses his team, and his team aren't able to save him, so they decide just to fly off without him, and he's alone on Mars and he has to be able to survive. So that's the sad part, is that his team can't come back to rescue him, so he's alone on Mars and he can either survive or just die, because the possibilities is that no one can save him. So it's like a rescue mission type of book. It's really good. I really liked it a lot. There are a lot of like sci-fi and NASA-induced information in this book, so sometimes I started skimming it, but other than that, it was a great story. I really liked it a lot, so definitely give this a try if you want a great story. The next book is a book for all of you YA lovers and who also love love stories. I would like to recommend Obsidian, which is the first book in the Lux series. And this is just basically boy meets girl. They hate each other, but afterwards they start falling in love. But the twist is that he's an alien. And there's nothing else to say other than that. These are really easy to read. There are some steamy parts, and they're a bit suspenseful as well. I really like the 3 first books. The 4th and 5th were okay, but really quick to read. So if you guys need quick books to read, then pick these up. The next book is also a first book in a series, and it's a series that I adore so much, and that is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. The first book in the Lunar Chronicles being 4 books and 2 novellas, I guess, or 2 like short stories on the side. And they're all fairy tale retellings, and the first book mainly is Cinderella. Our main character, Cinder, she's a cyborg, and cyborgs are shunned in New Beijing, so she mainly just works at a workshop to gain money for her family, you know, family, stepmother, evil stepsisters. But it's really good, and the story is that one day while working at her workshop, the prince comes by and wants something fixed, and then yeah, nothing else to say. But I really like this. I have reread the whole series except for Winter though, but the first time around I gave it like 3 stars because it was okay, and then the second time around I was so enjoying the story so much that I gave it 5 stars again, and they're just so much fun. So we have Cinderella, Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, and Snow White. So if you want retellings, this is the series. And lastly is what I thought was a duology, but now becoming a trilogy, is the Alienated series by Melissa Landers. I like her name. And we have Alienated and Invaded. These are also YA sci-fi books, romance sci-fi books as well. And we follow our main character, Kara, and her family is going to host an alien with a foreign exchange program, and by foreign exchange I mean outer space foreign exchange. So they're trying to have a peace treaty with Alex's home planet, and that's sort of what the first book is about, and then the second book just gets a bit more into detail, and I think they're really fun books, really great to read, and I would definitely recommend them if you want something YA-ish and sci-fi. Alright you guys, I hope you guys got some recommendations. I would gladly love to receive some sci-fi recommendations. If you have read some sci-fi books that you recommend, leave them down below. Give this a like if you like this recommendation video, and I'll see you guys in another one.